Hello and welcome back. In the last few sections, we got the Create API going, we got the validation in place, we got the error handling in place. Even though we got the validation and error handling in place, there is a slight error here in terms of implementation. And that is, even though we pass the status here as 422, let's say I send this request again, I get this status is 422. The status here at the response level is still 200. That's something that we need to correct. Okay, so let's head over to index.js, and in here, this is where all the error handling and the response processing is happening. And I'm gonna go ahead and comment out these two lines. Okay, and let's see what happens. And I'm gonna say error.status and .json. Alright, and the status would be obviously error.status. Okay, not sure if we can default it somehow. We'll try that, but let's test these changes first. I'm going to send this again. Go ahead and send this. It's still 200. Maybe it was not. Well, let's console log the status here. Okay, I think that would be better in my opinion. Console log the status, error.status. Okay, super. And let's see what we can get now. Okay, connected, send it. Yeah, there we go, we get 422 now. Okay, probably the changes didn't take effect previous time. Now it's coming out as 422. Okay, so let's do one more thing here. We can probably do a... So what we're going to do is, if error.status is not pre-populated, I was just wondering if we can give a 500 here straight away. I'm not sure if we can, but we can try that. We'll wait for this to connect to Mongo and then send another request. Alright, the changes have taken effect. Let's go ahead and test this. And yes, we get 422, and apparently we're also defaulting it to 500 in case the error.status is not no. Okay, so that's looking pretty nice. Maybe let's go ahead and test it with another combination. Maybe we'll give it the valid input. Let's say test 101. Yeah, this should actually go ahead and create a new one. I hope it did go through fine. That must be at least, oops, I didn't. Yep, there we go. We got a new category created. Okay, super. Let's see if I go ahead and do more than 25. I'll just go ahead and give some random characters here. Oh, it went ahead and create that. Goodness me. I thought it was more than... Okay, let's see. What about now? It might not take semicolons. This should actually throw an error. Yeah, and that must be less than or equal to 25 characters. Super. This is working fine. And let's head over to our next API, which is the get category by ID. If you go back here, this is the one that I'm referring to. Essentially, you provide an ID, it gives you back a category object. Okay, super. As usual, let's head over to the routes. And inside the routes, I'm going to have a new middleware here, and I'm going to say router dot param, and this is going to be the param name is going to be ID, and let's say get category by ID. Okay, let me go ahead and define this in the controller. I'm going to import it and go into category, maybe go into create category, and right about what I'm going to do is go ahead, just do a little bit of get myself, some clean space to work with. I'm going to say exports dot get category by ID. This is going to have, again, this is going to be async. Okay, it's going to have a request response next as well, because this is going to be a middleware, and it will also get an ID of category. Okay, and again, this is going to be an error function. Oops. Okay, super. And what do we do here? We have the category here, and we can do a category.findById. So straight away, what we're going to do is we're going to have a try catch block. Okay, and inside the editor, I'm going to say Control-Alt-L to print the editor. Okay, and sometimes we expect a few surprises, and this was one of those. Okay, this is not 14, this is going to be 11. So we have the try catch in place here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get the query the category collection by saying get me a category by ID, and that would be category is going to be await, and I'm going to call the category model here find by ID. Yeah, this is the one. And I'm going to pass the ID that's given here. Okay, so and then if everything is fine, I'm going to say request dot category is equal to category. Okay, and then I'll call the next function in line, which is the actual get method. Okay, super. And in case there is an error, I'll just go ahead and say next error. Okay, super. So now we have this middleware in place, which essentially intercepts our request coming our way, extracts the ID, goes into Mongo, and then if it finds the category, it puts it in the request object by the name of request.category and calls the next function. Okay, and the next function would be the actual get method, right? So I'll say router.get, and that's going to be on categories, and obviously we have to have this ID here because this is going to essentially match with this. And what do we say? We just say get category. Okay, super. Let's go ahead and get the implementation done for this one. I'll go ahead and import this one before I go to the controller. Let's head over to the controller, and right at the top I'll create some more space. I'm going to say exports dot get category is going to be getting a request response object, and this is going to be an error function. Okay, and what are you going to do here? We're just going to say res.status, and status is going to be 200, not 2000, and we're going to set the JSON object here, JSON payload of request dot category. So I think that's all that we need to do apparently. Okay, this is for the happy flow. Again, we will have some negative flows as well, which we need to take care of, especially with respect to the error handling. Let's go ahead and test this now. Okay, first thing is we need to know which categories we have. That's one way to actually do that. I'll take this ID, make a note of it. This is testing 101, and I'm going to say get category by ID here. Get category by ID, and this is going to be a get on all the stuff, and then finally the ID here. Okay, super. Let me close this for a moment and make a note of this one, testing 101. That's important. And I'm going to give a header here, acceptor of application JSON. Go ahead and send request. Super. We got the result back here. Okay, all right. So what if I send some data here? Let's say instead of B I get C. What do I get? I get a null, right? This is a non-existent category, so I'm getting a null, which is not a very pleasant response if you ask me. So let's see how we can go about it. And the other one is, let's say give something that's not conformant with Mongo's ID or Mongo ID, the document ID that is generated by Mongo inherently. So if I send this now, and you get this error, right? So Yeah, it's a very ugly error. Yeah. So let's see how we can go about it. The first one we're going to target is the non-existent category. Okay. Let's head over to the controllers, and let's say if category is non-existent or it's null, what are we going to do here? We're going to say return, say next. Okay. And it's going to be create error. We have create error here. Yeah. Create error. And it's going to be 400 or 404. Yeah, it's a 404. 404 and category not found. Okay. Category does not exist. Not found is also fine. Okay. Super. Let's see what we get here. I'll head over to the REST client one more time, and I'm going to make it a little more, conform it. And yep, we are getting the right response now. 404 category not found, all right, instead of the null, right? And the next thing we want to do is, let's say I send an invalid request or invalid Mongo ID. I need to get a better ID as well. Okay. So essentially, it means that client is not sending the right input. Yeah. So let's head over to our controller again. And typically, what happens is that whenever such an error happens, it gets thrown here, right? So essentially, this is line 24. Not sure why it is coming like this. I think that was coming as line 11 somewhere. Let's execute that once more. Okay, then essentially this has to come up here. Let's go ahead and send this. Is that line 11? 404. Yeah, line 11. There we go. Okay, that's the cast error. So what we're going to do there is we're going to say if it is going to be a cast error, we're going to handle it slightly differently. Okay, and let me give a semicolon here. Let me close this. Yep. So what I'm going to do here is if error instance of which error, goose dot, not the uppercase M, that's the goose dot cast error. Okay, if this is the error, then what we want to do is return. We're going to return next. Okay, create error, of course. Then it's going to be 400 bad input. Okay, and I'll call its invalid category ID. Okay, all right, super. Maybe let me capitalize this as well. So yeah, this is looking nice. Hopefully it should get triggered now. Okay, let's head over to the REST client. This is an invalid ID. Let's say I send this now. Send this one more time. It's not coming back. Mongoose is not defined. Okay, I need to essentially import Mongoose here. Okay, I think we had that already in here. Okay, controller category. Oh my goodness, this is not this Mongoose. Const Mongoose is equal to require Mongoose. Okay, super. That should do it. Let's go ahead and give it one more shot. Even here, Mongoose is not defined again. Interesting. Why? Did we save it? Thought we did. Interesting. We do have this in here in controllers. Why is it saying that? Not sure it's actually taken effect. Don't think it had taken effect. Let me go ahead and bounce it one more time. Yeah, I think this is probably hanging. Let's say npm run dev. Okay. Let's go ahead to our REST client. Okay, it's connected. Let's go ahead and do this. Yep, this time around we get the right error messaging. Okay, Sometimes, we just have to reboot the servers in order for them to reconcile with the latest code, and we get the code, the perfect result here. Super, this is looking great. And so we have the category by ID also up and running right now, and we're looking in good shape. Yeah. So let's take a pause here, come back, and then the next thing that we're going to do is look at developing the APIs for the dish. That's going to be slightly and relatively complicated there because of several metadata attributes, and also the image storage also come in a picture. Okay, let's take a look at that in the next class, and let's take a pause here.